New summer, new secret, new slaughter. Let's talk about I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. I bought this movie at Hollywood Video back in the late 2000s when Hollywood Video was closing up. Maybe it was like 2010 or some shit. I'm not sure what year, but this movie has been sitting on my shelf ever since, and I've only seen it the one time when I bought it back then, so it's been like over a decade since I've seen this movie, and I didn't remember anything going into it except for like the big reveal at the end. That's all I remembered because it's batshit insane and stupid. But that's all I remember. So this was like a first time watch all over again. And going into this movie, I went in with the lowest of low expectations because everyone's been telling me in my last couple videos, like, wait till you get to the third one. The third one's gonna suck. Oh my god, part two looks like The Godfather compared to part three. You're bitching now. I can't wait till you get to the third one. I can't wait. It's like, I hate to tell you, but this movie, to me, while still being a shitty movie, this whole trilogy is to me. I don't like any of them. This movie offended me less than part two. It pissed me off less than part two. I enjoyed this one more than part two. I'm being honest. All right, yeah, it's a bad movie, but at least it didn't bug me like part two. So yeah, I probably just lost some people there because everybody trashes this movie, and I mean like everybody, rightfully so. But still, like I'm being honest, like when I was watching the movie, yeah, it's pretty bad. The writing and the acting's weak. The third act, the big reveal, jumps the shark, does something very different from the first two. But I didn't hate the movie the whole time I was watching like fucking part two. I don't know what it is about that movie, but it pissed me off. This one did not. So this was straight to video, and you can tell like the quality is not that good. Just the look of the film overall, it it's not good. And there's no swearing in this movie. That was unique for a horror movie. Like a slasher film to have like no cussing at all. This is rated R for horror violence, and that's it. There's no drugs. Of course, there's no sex or nudity because this whole franchise is completely devoid of tits. This has nothing, not even swearing. It just has blood and violence. That's all it's got. So that was really surprising. And there was supposed to be a sequel that was announced in 2000 that was going to actually continue the story of Jennifer Love Hewitt's character and Freddie Prinze Jr., but that got scrapped for some reason. So I'm curious what that would have looked like if they actually stuck with it. I mean, it was written, so I'm wondering if that script's out there somewhere. I'd be curious to check it out. And so this has Don Shanks in it, Michael Myers from Halloween 5, as the fisherman in here. And just like Halloween 5, this movie is directed by a French guy. So, coincidence? So yeah, anyways, what do I like about this movie? Very little, but let's get into it. I thought the music was fine, especially in the opening. Just the opening, like credits. I thought the music was kind of eerie. It was all right. So I'll give it that. The music's the least of this movie's problems. So the throat slit looked good, and there's a forklift kill later on that was actually kind of bloody. And it's probably the bloodiest thing in this whole franchise. So maybe this is the bloodiest of the three. So I like that. And I like that this movie acknowledges the first two movies. It doesn't just outright ignore them. They have that scene where they're like bringing up the newspaper clippings and they're like, "This happened before." It's kind of like in the Final Destination movies where they start getting the books with the newspaper clippings inside. And they're like researching what happened before, so we get like references to the last two movies, like it happened and then it happened a year later. So I like that it brought up those two movies to acknowledge them. So, and you know, that's really it. That's really all of the positives I have. So one mixed thought I'll say is the whole, I'll just spoil it right here, the whole supernatural thing. I thought it was a really dumb idea, but at least they're trying something different here. Like they take the fisherman legend of the guy from the first two movies, they turn him into a legend. So now he's a supernatural killer who kills teenagers who create secrets on Independence Day. So it's like it's only if you do it on that day. Like I'm curious if had they done this on any other day, would this still happen? Or is it just like this fisherman ghost? He comes to attack people who create secrets on a specific date. Like, I don't know. But it's a really stupid idea, and it's a jump the shark moment for this film. And but at least they were trying something different. They took a risk, so I'll give them that. As for my negatives, first up, just a little nitpick. If you're gonna have a fisherman slasher movie, you should probably have the movie take place near the ocean or some kind of body of water, so it makes sense that you got some guy in a slicker walking around. This movie takes place in Colorado in the mountains. There's no water anywhere. There's a swimming pool, but that's it. So it's like, why this setting? That's weird for a fisherman killer movie. And the quality of the movie is absolutely awful. The look of the film, the editing. This movie just is like shot and edited like a music video at times. There's lots of like flash cuts, and it's like trying to be like the Saw movies at times. Where they do all that flashy stuff, and it's like cutting 1,000 times per second. I just did not like it. It's very slow moving too. I was pretty bored, like incredibly bored, and this whole movie just feels very rushed. And I read that the director was hired like maybe a couple weeks before production began. Like they fired a guy and got this guy in at the last second, so they had to quickly do everything. And it very much feels that way when you're watching it. And there's a couple of jump scares, but the jump scares in this movie aren't as like in your face like the other movies. Like the noise that happens, like the stinger. In the other movies, it sounds like a fucking bomb went off, and this one it just sounds like a door was shut a little too hard. So it's not that egregious. But the end scene, just like the first two movies, we got the end fake out, or I guess not in this case, it's not fake out, the other ones were, but in this one, it's the same ending as the other ones, where it's like the killer's there again, she's gonna get killed, or is it a dream? I don't know. It's just the same ending 3 movies in a row. I mean, that's all I really gotta say. It's just a boring movie with a couple bloody kills, but that's all it's got. Nothing creative, nothing memorable, just weak acting, characters I don't give a shit about. It's the same complaints I had with the first 2 movies. It's just the same bullshit 3 times in a row, and I don't care for this trilogy. I just do not like any of these movies at all, but some people do like the first one, and I get it, but it's just not for me. This movie to me was just garbage. So when it comes to I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, skip this one. It is wasted time. So in the opening, we got a few things that reminded me of Final Destination, the movies. Like the opening credits is the same font, it looks like, as the Final Destination 2 opening credits. And then we got the actor from Final Destination 2 playing the lead Ryan Phillippe character in this movie, the asshole. So it's like, hey, we got Evan from Final Destination 2. I was hoping at some point he'd get like a ladder through his eye again. That would have been awesome. And also the whole like opening is at a carnival, so it took me like to Final Destination 3, just reminded me of that. And the score was kind of reminiscent of the score from those movies as well. So I was getting all kinds of like Final Destination vibes from the whole opening. And then we get this whole like prank gone wrong, like an 80s film throwback. They got this prank going on where they cut the one dude's arm, but they somehow faked it. I'm not sure how they pull that off. And then they know there's cops around too, so that's just really stupid. This is a risky prank. They know that there's 2 armed cops right over there who don't do anything to help right away. It's like they're 15 feet over that way. The prank starts, and then the cops are nowhere to be seen. And then they chase the PJ guy up to the roof. He's on a skateboard, and I guess he was supposed to skateboard off the roof and land on a mattress. But what's the point? Like, all these friends are in on it except for the 2 girls. This is a prank on them. But from where they're standing, they can't really see what the hell's going on the roof or where PJ would be landing. So they could have did that whole prank differently, and it would have been a lot more safe. It's just a stupid prank. At the end of the day, it's all stupid. They were just ridiculous. He falls off the roof, he misses the mattress, and he lands on top of a fucking tractor. So there's a little bit gory stuff right there. And so then they're like, oh, we gotta keep it a secret. This movie's doing everything that the first movie did. It basically copies a lot from the first movie, the way the story unfolds. It's all the same. They go away. One of them goes away for a year. Then they come back. The relationship between all of them just isn't the same. Blah, blah, blah. It's like the first movie all over again. Except in this one, they're getting text messages. We got to make it more modern. But I like the fake out with the note. Like, you're like, oh, the note's gonna say, I know what you did last summer, because that's what the first two did. But she opens it, and it's just a legit note from her mom that says, we're gonna be out of town for the next 2 days, so we're not gonna be here to protect you. You're gonna be all alone and vulnerable, and you're gonna die. And so, yeah, I bet she gets like 50 text messages in a row. Why not just send one? And so then she's on this gondola and she's getting attacked, and then the killer just disappears. And this is the biggest clue right here, like something supernatural is happening, or this movie's just really stupid, like extra stupid. But so, like, I kind of like the supernatural thing at the end, just so it explains all this dumb shit earlier. You're like, oh, now that makes more sense. How he was able to just be on top, and then now he's gone, and he's there, now he's not. If the killer in part one was supernatural, it would explain that trunk scene, like how he managed to make all those crabs disappear and the body and all that stuff within a minute. It would make that scene make much more sense if he was supernatural. And I'm believing that it is Ben Willis in this movie. That's the ghost. Like, after he was killed in part two, he just somehow became a ghost who haunts people, who keeps secrets. Like, it's supposed to be him, I believe. I'm not sure who else it would be. So, and then like another scene that's a clue. Like, this has to be supernatural. How is this killer doing this? Is the whole like written in water on the ground, like, I know what you did last summer. That's at the pool. Like, the sun, like, he had to do that within seconds before he saw it, otherwise, because it would have disappeared, it would have evaporated. Like, there was no way the killer would do that and not be seen. And then when he like slashes that girl's bike tires, and then like she's in the wilderness, that's all open, and she turns around like after 2 seconds, and the tires are flat already, and the killer's nowhere to be seen. Like, the supernatural thing explains all that. So, but still a stupid thing, because how weird is it that we got two trilogies where part three introduced a supernatural angle. Urban Legends 3 did it, and then now this movie's doing it as well. So, coincidence? And then we get this girl has like a dream within a dream. So I fucking hate that, and the way that was all shot and done. It's just bad and lazy. And then her guitar's broken, so this is like the Sarah Michelle Gellar losing her hair moment. The killer's fucking with them, and the one guy goes to kill himself, and the fisherman doesn't let him do it. He's like, no, I gotta kill you, so I'm gonna lure you out here, and then I'm gonna kill you. He slits his throat open, and it actually looked kind of good. And then everybody believes that he killed himself, even though the whole situation looks like it was someone else killing him. Like, it looked like he was in a struggle. There's no fucking way. And no one kills himself like that. Like, he had pills in that one room, the suicide note, and he already had like a cut on his wrist that he was starting. So everything points to not suicide. It was an attempt that got interrupted, clearly. So the police here do not know how to investigate. Then Colby, he gets his ankle hooked, and I thought it was kind of interesting that he's the only one that got, hurt during the opening prank, and he's the only one that gets hurt of the group before they all get killed. So, like, he's the only one that's actually injured. So I made that little small connection. And so, yeah, they stay in town because this one girl thinks she's got a shot at being famous. There's a talent show of sorts that's going on, and she's like, there's going to be agents there, and I can play, and maybe I'll get famous, so I'm going to stay in town and risk losing my life to be famous. And then all the other friends stay with her, so it's like either all of us leave or none of us leave. And even though Colby knows that there's a maniac on the loose and he's a target, he for some reason leaves the party, leaves this whole group of people to go isolate himself in some kitchen to get drunk. Like, you want to get drunk when you know that you're being targeted and you could be attacked at any moment by the killer. Like, that makes no sense. This is when you should be as sober as possible and not be alone at all, especially when you're on crushes. So you're even extra vulnerable, and then you're going to add being intoxicated on top of it. Like, you're really being ridiculous. Amber in this movie, she really loves touching dead bodies. Every time somebody's dead, the first thing she does, her initial reaction, is to keep touching these dead bodies and getting blood all over her so that cops will think that she's the murderer. So it's convenient writing to make her look like the suspect when I think any normal person would just not touch the dead body and get blood smeared all over them. Like, twice she does it. So then Colby, he gets killed with the hook under his jaw once again, 3 movies in a row, and the one cop who you think is like the red herring of the film, you think he might be the killer. He knows the secret too, and he keeps it a secret because he loves Amber. And then he gets the forklift through his chest, and he's like shooting the fisherman, and he keeps getting back up. They even run his ass down, and the other guy just grabs a pistol like it's gonna work. Like, you just saw this guy get shot with a shotgun a couple times and ran over, and you think the gun's gonna do something to help you. And so then they find out that this hook that they bought off of eBay for $39 is the weakness for the fisherman. So the weapon he's using to kill others is also his kryptonite. So yeah, they use that, they stab him on the head, and then they push him into like that one piece of farming equipment in Wrong Turn 5, the thing that has like the blades that spin in the front and it chops things up, shoots it out the back like a wood chipper. He gets sucked into that and dies, I guess. Although he's already dead, he's a ghost. His eyes are glowing red at one moment. It's ridiculous. But she has like this yippee-ki-yay motherfucker moment where she has like that closing line where she's like, the secret dies with you, and then kicks him in. And then it flashes forward a year later, like all these movies do, and she gets a flat tire, and then there's the killer right behind her. The end. So yeah. I think Don Shanks was also the cop in the ambulance at the end. I'm guessing that's him. It looked like him. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about this movie. It's pretty bad, but it didn't piss me off like part 2 did. So those are my thoughts. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, remember, it's just an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.